The Arab Spring began in December of 2010 with uprisings in Tunisia. By the end of the period, uprisings had taken place in approximately 21 primarily Arab countries in the Middle East and North Africa. Many of the governments established after the Arab Spring have since fallen. Uprisings and rebellions have begun in North Africa in the last few months that mimic the early days of the Arab Spring. Sudan and Mali are two countries following the same patterns of countries in the Arab Spring, like Libya and Egypt. Protests began in Benghazi, February 2011, against leader Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. After civil war and clashes between government and rebel forces, the National Transitional Council was recognized as an interim government. In October, Gaddafi was captured and killed. In July 2012, the elections were held for the General National Congress, and that November, Ali Zidane was sworn in as prime minister. After civil war and much unrest with the interim government, Libya is in the process of rebuilding. Protests began on January 25, 2011, and lasted for 18 days. On January 28th, the government attempted to shut down all internet access in the country, trying to stem incitement of protests on social media. In February, President Hosni Mubarak stepped down and the military took control, setting up an interim government. In June 2012, Mohamed Morsi was sworn in as president. Protests began again in November 2012, and on July 3, 2013, the military ousted Morsi and retook control of the country. Protests began on September 23, 2013, after the government cut fuel subsidies, which raised prices more than 60%. Government forces began to shoot and kill protesters. On September 25, 2013, the internet was blacked out across the country for 24 hours. Protests continue against the government at this time. On August 13, 2013, Soumaïla Cissé conceded the election to Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. On November 1, 2013, protests began in Gao about the choice of delegates for a conference in Bamako, in northern Mali. Protests continue in the country. It's unclear if the election results are a cause of the protests.